Hey, everybody. Brian Kamenetzky, Andy Kamenetzky, getting you ready for Lando Lakers Live tonight after the game. Game 2, Andy. It may be hot in Los Angeles.
Oh, there's no May. There is no May.
That's true.
It is effing unpleasant, if I may. It is
it's in the triple digits. But the heat, Andy, the real heat is on the Lakers tonight in a must-win game 2.
No, the real heat's on me and the rest of us in Los Angeles. Don't give me that bullshit. But
it's really hot.
I am not in the mood for you to try to drag cliches because it's hot as bleep out there.
I object. Right, that was not a cliche, Andy. That was impressive sports analysis with a weather metaphor. In all seriousness, though, the Lakers, it would be nice if they won game 2. I think from their perspective. Because we were here before, like we were here in the first round. Lakers down 1-0 to the Trailblazers. This is a different deal. Portland is not as good as Houston, so being down 1-0 to the Rockets is a bigger thing than being down 1-0 to the Trailblazers. There's no question.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of this comes down to stylistic choices, which weren't necessarily a thing versus the Blazers. And one thing I'm going to be looking for is how involved, how impactful, effective can JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard be? In game 1, the 112-97 loss, they were a combined 24 minutes for 5 points, 7 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal, and basically no memorable moments at all. And beyond the lack of production, and I think the two of them actually can be useful in a series against a team as small as Houston, because both of them are very mobile. Both of them are really good rim runners. The Lakers need to go at a quicker pace anyway, but also just the ability to try to just control the paint, get more rebounds, make that size advantage a thing. Otherwise, you do have to wonder if Frank Vogel has to adjust some of his preferences if those two guys aren't really going to be felt.
Well, it's interesting. There are a lot of good breakdowns from the film study guys and the X's and O's guys talking about how the Lakers actually did perform better in game 1 when the bigs were out on the court, when they played a big alongside Anthony Davis. But I think what you're getting at, Andy, is important because it's been really clear. The Lakers, the effectiveness, especially offensively, of guys like JaVale and Dwight is when they get up and down the floor, when they finish over the top of a team like Houston that's full of little people. And so I think this is where it's important for the Lakers to be able to get some pace and to cut down on turnovers. It's a lot easier to run. It's a lot easier to do the stuff that you want to do, for the Lakers if you're not constantly taking the ball out of your own basket, and if you're not constantly going the other way on your possessions. And the turnovers that they had, I think it was 16 for 27 Houston points in game 1.
Yes,
it was a lot of live ball turnovers, a lot of careless passes, stuff even from LeBron that you don't typically see. So before I think I would adjust my lineups and get away from the things that both have been good for me, if I'm going to pull the Mark Jackson, if I'm the Los Angeles Lakers, and been good for the Lakers and theoretically would work well against the Rockets. I want to see what happens when you clean up all that other stuff.
Yeah. Oh, we talked about this after game 1. Houston played a legitimately good game, and they made it clear that they are, a team that is capable of giving the Lakers real challenges when they're playing at their best. That being said, the Lakers did a lot to beat themselves in that game.
Yeah. Oh, there's no question. There's no question. They hurt themselves. And so what does this series look like when they play a clean game, I think is next. And we saw in game 2 against the Blazers, the Lakers came out after a very lackluster effort in game 1. They came out, Anthony Davis talked about them being like a desperate team. I'd like to see that kind of effort and intensity in game 2. I'm curious as to whether because that will start, I think, to get them some of the pace that they need. It's not about fast break points. It's about pace. It's about what Rob Pelinka, Andy, as we all like to say, calls thrust.
Yeah. Sounds like a
Rob
dirty
Pelinka,
little birdie
thrust. Game 2, Lando Lakers live. I know. Lando Lakers live. Post game 2 coming to you 10 o'clock.
Especially when you're at
tonight. Make sure you hear.
It really sounds sexual when.
It does.
It's not the way he means it.
I mean, it's a sexual sounding word.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it is or it isn't.
No,
but I'm going to assume it's not. There's a basketball context.
I'm very confident it's not. I'm just talking about the whole byproduct of being that handsome.
It is. Yeah. Thrust, people. We'll see if the Lakers have some. Land Lakers Live, 10 o'clock tonight. We'll see everybody there.